Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session this afternoon. We are going to be speaking about the Academic and Career Connections program today. Just want to start things off by acknowledging that NSCC and all of our campuses are in Mi'kma'ki, which is the unceded territory and ancestral homeland of the Mi'kmaq Nation. Our relationship is based on a series of peace and friendship treaties between the Mi'kmaq Nation and the Crown, dating back to 1725. And in Nova Scotia, we recognize that we are all treaty people. So just want to start things off with a few housekeeping items here. My name is Maddie McKenzie. I'm a student recruitment coordinator here at NSCC. So I help all prospective students with, trying to find a program that best suits them. I help them with questions about a program they may be interested in. I can help you with the application process. Those are some of my duties here at the college. And of course, today I am being joined by a faculty member in our Academic and Career Connections program, and we'll be discussing these options here. So the webinar platform, go to webinar. You will see that you're muted for the duration. So this is for the duration of the session. You will not be able to unmute yourself. There is a live question and answer period at the end, so you can ask us some questions. We'll do our best to answer them for you, but you're gonna have to type out those questions into the question box. So please feel free to do that throughout the session. No need to wait till the end. I know it can be, sometimes a bit difficult to remember those questions. So please feel free to pop them in. I'll be monitoring it throughout the session as our faculty kind of discusses. I'll try to answer them if I can right away. If not, we'll address them towards the end. If you have a question afterwards that you forgot to ask, or maybe your question goes unanswered today, you can certainly reach out to us at recruitment@nscc.ca, and we will find those answers for you. So again, thanks so much for joining us. And I'm going to hand things over to Kirsty now so she can introduce herself. This is our faculty member that will be our program expert this afternoon. Hi, Kirsty.
Hello. So nice to have you all here, and excited to know that you might be considering the Academic and Career Connections program. So my name is Kirsty Locke, and I am faculty at the Strait Area campus, which is in Port Hawkesbury, Cape Breton, for those of you who may not be from the province. I have been faculty in the School of Access teaching Academic and Career Connections now for over 10 years. And I love teaching math and chemistry. Those are everyone's favorites, and that's been my main subject areas for most of my time, although I have taught some of the other subjects also. And I really enjoy working with students and supporting them to reach their learning goals and future program aspirations. In my spare time, I love doing anything outside. So anything from from dirt biking or skiing, sailing, mountain biking for that matter. So all kinds of outdoor fun is my favorite thing outside of work. So hopefully we will be able to answer some of the questions that you might have today. And certainly, as Maddie already mentioned, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll do what we can to answer them. But we will also give somewhat of an overview here today, and that may answer some of your questions too. So Academic Career and Career Connections, we also call it ACC. And essentially it is a program that's offered at 11 of our campuses across the province for students who have a high school diploma, but maybe didn't take certain subjects that now they would like to take. Most often it's because they're a prerequisite required to go into a future program. So by coming to the ACC program, you're able to take courses either on a full-time in-person, part-time in-person, full-time online, full-time blended, part-time online, part-time blended. So there's a whole bunch of different options in terms of how you do participate, but you choose the way you want to participate, and then that's what you commit to. So that's been, I guess, a silver lining of COVID, if we can look at COVID in that way, that we do have various ways of accessing the program now. So that's definitely become a whole lot more pronounced since COVID, although it was that, there was some of that previous to COVID as well. But it does also depend on the campus. So depending on which campus you're interested in, some may only offer it in person, or some may only offer it as a blended option. So that is something to consider as well. But we do also have the e-campus, which offers a lot of the courses, and those are all online if you're through the e-campus. So lots of different options to get high school equivalent courses that then allow you to apply to programs that maybe require those courses as prerequisites. So here you see a list of courses that we offer through the ACC program. And typically, our students will meet with the academic chair at whatever campus it is that they're interested in to choose which of these courses they take. So you only take what you need to take, unless you have an interest to take others as well, that's fine. And some of the ones that are really great courses to take that likely wouldn't be prerequisites for another program are things like charting your course or transition to college. These are excellent programs for courses in the program for kind of exploring possibilities that might be good fits for your future program choices. But as you can see here, we offer a lot of the sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, and the various math options, like the academic math, which we call college math, as well as pre-calculus math, and some of the other math foundations and health math. Those are all courses that typically are taken because they're a prerequisite for something else. The communications are also a prerequisite for some university entrances, and some of our program entrance requirements for things like the practical nursing and power engineering, things, and any of our environmental tech programs, might require these things as entrance requirements. So it's a nice way to be able to get those courses. So here you kind of see the equivalent. So if you were taking, if you were wanting to enter into the practical nursing program, whether it's at the same campus or a different campus, or maybe you're interested in doing the Bachelor of Nursing program at a university, and typically you'd be required to take two grade 12 sciences and academic math and your grade 12 English. So how you would be able to do that at NSCC is by taking the part 1 and part 2 of, say, biology and chemistry, part 1 and part 2 of the college math, and then the part 1 and part 2 of English. And that way you would have the grade 12 equivalents for those subjects that then would allow you to apply for the nursing as a Bachelor of Nursing or LPN. Now, if you were applying to LPN or some of the other health and human service programs that we offer at NSCC, then there is an alternative choice that you could take the health math instead of taking the college academic math. And that NSCC will accept that as a equivalent to the grade 12 academic math. Which is actually a math that's very much suited for the healthcare profession. And so it's a great alternative route for students who maybe don't have their high school grade 12 academic math, that as an alternative for human health and human service programs at NSCC. So this wouldn't be accepted at universities or other provinces perhaps. But that you could then take the health math as an alternative. So there are a lot of different reasons why people come to the ACC program. It is primarily to take these courses as prerequisites for another program, whether they're an NSCC program, university programs, other college programs, and the type of programs that you might need these types of prerequisites for are typically the nursing type programs, health related programs, engineering, and like the environmental technology program that we offer. Our marine program here at the Strait area sometimes has those as prerequisites depending on which pathway you're going. So it opens up possibilities to a whole wide variety of programs. And the other nice thing about the ACC program that our students really like is that it kind of prepares them for college type learning. So, you know, it's more independent than what you might have had in high school. And sometimes that's a bit of a transition for students. It does also give opportunity to kind of explore what programs are out there while you're still preparing by taking those courses. So a lot of great benefits to being in the ACC program.
All right, I can hop back in here, give you a little break. Thank you so much, Christy, for the overview and explanation there. We do have some questions coming in, so I'll be sure to have you on the hook for those during that section of the presentation. But please, again, feel free to just pop in at any time if you have anything to add. Just wanted to cover the admission requirements quickly for the program. So you simply need a high school diploma or equivalent. If you are somebody on the line that's looking to obtain your high school diploma, we do have another program for that. It's called the Adult Learning Program, or ALP. So sometimes we get those inquiries as well. We also have an Adult Learning Program academic upgrading option. So the programs are similar but different. So there can be a little bit of confusion, and we can certainly help with those questions. But this program does require high school diploma or equivalent. There are seats available at campuses for September. So if you're looking to upgrade, definitely check out those locations and availabilities. Again, each campus has sort of a different set of courses you can take. And we do have the online options as well, of course. So make sure to just consider that when you're applying. And again, we can help you with those questions if you have them. Tuition. So ACC tuition is slightly different than our other kind of full-length programs at NSCC. So tuition is posted online on a yearly basis, and typically students pay that amount on a semester basis or a term basis. So this would be the payment for a full-time ACC student, so that's 3 courses or more. Anything less than that, it's on sort of a per course basis. But this is just sort of an overview of what you might be paying for the year. I always encourage students and applicants, prospective students, to check out our program fees page, because it gives you a full idea of the cost you might have in attending, post-secondary attending NSCC. So not only will it give you this chart on ACC's page, but it will also give you another chart with textbook estimates. There's a chart on additional program costs. So you might need a calculator if you're doing a math class, notebooks, a computer if you don't have that. So those are just estimates. Again, if you have those things, you don't need to buy them brand new, of course. But I always like to point students in that direction because it's a great planning tool, just to know, kind of that price tag that you're working towards. Also to mention as well, sorry, new tuition for next year is typically set every June. So this tuition was for this past year that students are attending now. So tuition is set every June. You can expect that amount to be posted. We need to hear basically from the provincial government, and then we post those amounts. But this is a good planning tool for future years. We do have a lot more webinars coming up. So you folks obviously that are joining us have signed up for this one. If anybody's watching this recording afterwards, we still have lots of webinars coming up well into the future. So please, if you have any questions about, or you're curious about other programs, maybe you have questions again about tuition, student awards, campus housing, things like that. We have a lot of options out there for you to attend. If you can't attend, we know it can be tough sometimes on the timing, but we always have recordings as well if you'd like to watch afterwards, and you can just reach out to recruitment for those. course, we have our social accounts here. Again, kind of just posting typical social stuff, you know, upcoming events, staying up to date with what's going on at NSCC, our campuses. So follow along if you're looking to stay in the know. And that's basically it for the content of the presentation. We have lots of time for Q&A. So we have a few questions that have come in. I'm going to check those out. And I'm also maybe going to spend some time on the program page just to show you how to kind of navigate that for anybody who might not have applied yet and is looking to apply. So I am going to pop over to the NSCC website here first, just to show folks what it looks like. Not sure if we do have any prospective students on the line that are looking to apply, but we are going to show you the website for that. Oh, just want the home page here. Okay, so if you just go to nscc.ca, this is our home page. If we were looking to find the ACC program and learn a bit more about it, I like to use the search bar is really great. You can just search the program that you're interested in here. Sometimes you might not you know the full name of it, so that's when we kind of come to this program and courses page, which I like to use as well. Go to the programs. A to Z list is great. There's also some other great search options as well if you're not exactly sure what you're looking for, or you're looking for some, you know, alternative options. So obviously we know we're looking for ACC, so I usually use A to Z. But if you're somebody who's looking for another program, area of interest is another great option to search. Part-time, you can search based on admission requirements. If you kind of go back to the program tab here, you can also search online only. You can search by the credential you get, right? So diploma, certificate, advanced diploma, graduate certificate. So lots of good ways to search. But again, today we're doing academic and career connections. That is the easiest one to find, top of the list. So this is what we call a program page. So we use these a lot in recruitment to help students find information that they're looking for the program. So it kind of gives you that need to know information, if you will. So for ACC, you have your overview tab. You can learn a bit about the program, the locations and availability, which is really important. This program obviously is offered at many of our campuses. So it gives you, the campus, the location of the campus, whether it's full-time or part-time, the delivery method. The little I will indicate, what the delivery method means basically. And if there are seats available. If a program is waitlisted at a particular campus, it will say waitlist here instead of seats available. And in that case, you can still apply to waitlists. ACC doesn't have any at the moment, but if they did, you could still apply to that campus and that program. You would just be added to the waitlist if you were eligible for the program. Admission requirements, of course. If you're an international student, there's a whole sub-site for you as well, where you can come and see your documents and requirements based on the country you were educated in. So that's very helpful. And of course, the tuition tab. And the tuition tab will take you to these links here, which are those more detailed links I was mentioning earlier with the multiple tables. So that's kind of the gist of the program page. If you are looking to apply, there's these kind of greenish yellow apply now buttons all around the website on all the program pages, but you can also find them on the home page here, apply. You can find them on the admissions tab here, apply. So you just click that. They all take you to the same place. It's the same application. And you get some steps here on how to apply. And then this button would take you to the online application system. It sort of looks like this. Pretty intuitive system. You just, again, fill out kind of all your information, what we ask for. But again, if anybody on the line has a question about how to apply, please let me know. You can reach out to the recruitment email again. I'll pop it into the chat box so you have it. But with that, I'm just going to head over to the question box here. Okay. So I'm not sure, this question looks like it's about ECE, so that's early childhood education. The webinar, I'm not sure if you meant ACC, if ACC is free, but ACC is not free, so we covered the tuition in one of those slides. If you're looking to upgrade, we do have that adult learning program academic upgrading option where students, I believe, Kirsty, and correct me if I'm wrong, can upgrade 2 courses free of charge.
That's right. Yeah, if you only have 2 courses that you need as prerequisites, which are the same course as what you see in ACC, then there is an option to take that through what we call the Adult Learning Academic Upgrading, or ALPAU. And in that option, you get 2 free courses, basically. So if you are taking 2 or less, that's a good option. It's a slightly different pathway, but amounts to the exact same qualification at the end.
And that's 2, I believe that's 2 courses, right? 2 subjects?
Yeah.
Because it can be kind of confusing. I know we covered earlier in the presentation the grade 12 academic equivalents, right? So if you needed college chemistry, you'd need parts 1 and 2 for it to be academic grade 12 equivalent. But under ALPAU, that would be considered your first subject, and then you get a second subject as well, correct?
Yeah, so it'd be like what would be part 1 and 2 in ACC is all together in ALP.
Right. Okay.
So you would get all of what you need of chemistry, for example, or all of what you need of biology. You'd get the equivalent of your grade 12. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. And yeah, you can combine the programs. I know Kirsty mentioned that before. So you were interested in ALPAU, and then you needed an additional subject or course, you can take it through ACC.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I take these if I am out of province and haven't fully moved here yet? This particular student is on a healthcare work contract and is looking at our practical nursing course.
Yeah, so I do believe that if you are going to be taking it from out of province, you would be best to go through the eCampus. The eCampus offers all those courses. I think maybe a couple like charting your way and things like that. I don't think are at eCampus, but chemistry, biology, all the maths. I back that up, not all the maths, the academic math and the health math. I don't think pre-calculus math, but anyway, they offer a lot of the standard ones, I guess I would say, through eCampus. And eCampus, everyone should know, is asynchronous. So what that means is that you have an instructor, you have a course, and you have a whole bunch of learning activities that you access virtually, like online, and you kind of do it on your own time. There's no requirement to come to a specific class at a specific time online. You just access all of the materials as you need them on your own time frame, but you do have deadlines. And then a lot of instructors do have the option to come to a class, like for help or whatever, and that might be at a specific time. But just for you to know that it's very much based on your own schedule, so it's a nice option that way. And if you're out of province, I would say that's your best option, because any of the tests or evaluation pieces, if you were in an in-person scenario, you'd have to come to campus to do those. Whereas if you're in the eCampus, it's all done online.
Great, thank you. Another question here for you. The student's wondering how you determine which maths to take.
Okay. Yeah, it's a big question. And there's always quite a bit of uncertainty around this. So to kind of reference what I call them, there's the academic math, or what they call academic math in high school, which we call college math. And you would need to take college math 1 and college math 2 to have the same as what a person who took academic math grade 11 and grade 12. Okay. The other option we have is college health math, which has a part 1 and a part 2 as well. And that is something that high schools don't offer. So if, for example, you're going to take the practical nursing program at NSCC, it says that the prerequisite is that you take the academic math 11 and 12 from high school. That is required in order to go into the practical nursing program at NSCC. But as an alternative, and this is also the case for some of our other health and human service programs that require academic math, as an alternative, NSCC will accept the ACC health math. The difference between these two maths is that the health math is more specific to the health sciences. So it's a math that really aligns much better with the type of math you will use if you went into the nursing program. Whereas the college math, which is like your academic math, is more of an engineer's type math that is very well suited for engineering. It's also fine for going into nursing, but sometimes it's not as aligned. And so you might find that the health math is a much more aligned math. And on top of that, if we have students that, you know, find the academic math is challenging and, you know, that's kind of been a barrier to accessing the practical nursing, the health math really boils it down to a math that's much more familiar, I guess, and it's a more basic math. So in that way, it's less of a barrier for students who are wanting to enter into the health math or health fields. As far as what Math Foundations is, sometimes for students who really want to take the academic math, but they aren't a student with a lot of the math background that's needed for the academic math, then we recommend, and in some cases even require, that a student takes the foundations math, which is you know, a review potentially of, I would say, grade 6 to 10 math. So you cover a lot of different topics, and it gives students an opportunity to fill in some of the gaps that they may have in their math background, so that then they're more prepared for the academic math. And it's a great option for students wanting to go the academic math route, but find that they're missing some of the foundational pieces that you really need to do well in the academic math. And pre-calculus is what comes after college math or that academic math. It's their prerequisites to the pre-calculus, and those are for students that maybe are considering more the engineering line of things at a university, that they would maybe then be required to have pre-calculus math as a prerequisite. So hopefully that
that's great.
It's a lot of different math pathways.
No, yeah, covering all the bases, that's perfect. Another question here about delivery. So I am going to hop back over to the website here. So I'm just going to, one moment. So it's about delivery. So kind of the different delivery options and what they mean. I know this can vary, but I don't know if you want to take a stab at this one, Kirsty. I just wanted to kind of come and give them a visual again on where the delivery method can be found.
Yeah, so when you see the list here that's showing on the screen, it said September 2022. So that's what's anticipated to be the delivery for the upcoming academic year. And all of them are showing in person. Now, and when you go to the information, it does also, like the little I next to the in person. For the eCampus, it says that the delivery is fully online and no scheduled classes. So that one is very unique, and that was the one that I was referring to for the person who asked about accessing the program while still out of province. For the other ones that say in person, I think if you hover over the I, if you don't mind just confirming that for me, yeah, delivered in person, but it says some courses may have online elements. So this is kind of like a result of what we've learned during COVID, that there are some great benefits to having online elements. And so, you know, we're keeping all of what was good about that and still continuing with other pieces that we were doing before COVID that were already working well. So essentially the difference is if it's in person, and this will vary by campus, I would have to say. So even though all of these campuses say in person, you may find that depending on what campus you're going to, there's some alternate options that you may find one campus has that another one doesn't have. So if I speak to our campus, Strait Area campus in Port Hawkesbury, we're showing that we're in person. But that could also mean that we're in person, for 3 days a week. And that would be for, say, chemistry, that it's always in person. But maybe another course in our program, like communications, we don't offer at our campus. So then that one you would have to take online because we don't offer it at our campus. So then you would be online through eCampus for that particular course. So it does vary a bit depending on campus, but basically once you've committed to the campus and the method that you've agreed to at that campus, then that's what you're expected to continue for the year. In person, that would mean if you're fully in person, you are expected to be in class at a certain time, say, and for the math, chemistry, biology, it's 6 hours a week. If it's a one that's a fully online, you would potentially go with eCampus. And if it's blended, it may mean for some courses that you have part of the week is in person, say every Monday and Tuesday you're in person and Wednesday and Thursday you're online. So there is some of that happens as well. So there is quite a wide range of ways that we're doing it now. And it sounds really messy, but for any one person, it's what you agree to being your format based on what the campus allows. And then once you've agreed to that, then that's what you have to stick with and commit to. So it does give students flexibility so that you can maybe continue to work, or if you have children in your life that you need to look after and provide childcare for, then it gives some flexibilities around those things. Or if you're driving a long distance, then somewhere between our campuses we have those different choices.
Great. And I heard you mention working there and maybe some dependent commitments, things like that. So I have two questions. I'm going to kind of mesh them into one. So somebody's wondering how, and I guess this is again very dependent on the students, how many courses they're taking, what their background is, but is there sort of a general time commitment that they should be expecting to commit each week for the coursework? And on top of that, do you have students within the program that do work? Do they, work part-time, full-time? Can you speak to any of that?
Yeah, so it is very individual because everyone does come with their own additional responsibilities outside of the courses. And that's where, maybe some people come for 2 years and they just take one course each year, or some say, well, I'm not going to do anything else but school for this whole year, and they take 5, which would be, and when I say 5, I mean like part 1 and part 2 of 5 different subjects. So it's very individual, but what I will say is that chemistry, biology, and math and physics, all those would have 6 hours a week for scheduled class time. And then what I find is that students say it takes them another 4 to 6 hours a week for course related work. And again, that's going to vary for students. I'd say that's an average. It's not to say that some students wouldn't spend 10 or 12 hours a week, but it really depends on how much a student needs to spend time to be successful with their individual subjects. But definitely 6 hours a week is scheduled class time for most of them. And for communications and health math, it's 4 hours a week. Charting your course, I think, is probably 4 hours a week as well. So typically our students don't take more than 4, like 4 is an absolute full load, 4 subjects, and quite often there are 2 or 3. So I've had, in the 10 years I've been teaching, I think I've had 2 students take 5 in a year, and really that was absolutely all that they did for the year. So it really, yeah, so I'd say per subject, you could probably count on 6 to 10 hours a week for the class time. Sorry, I meant to say 10 to 12 hours a week for the class time and coursework time. And then if you can work around that, then that's great. And if you require flexibility for work schedules, then things like eCampus or some of the blended options might be your best thing to look for.
Perfect, thank you. We do have a question here about ALPAU. I'm not sure if you can answer it. I'm just popping over back to this page. So, academic upgrading. So this particular student was accepted at Marconi. So looks like, again, Marconi campus / online, part-time blended. So the student was told, so they work full-time. I was told I can take 2 courses at my own pace. Will I be learning online? So I'm assuming that if the campus told you you can learn online with this particular subjects that you've listed here, that would indeed be the case. But those questions most likely are best answered by the campus directly, because again, all the campuses have sort of a different setup, different faculty, different teaching methods. So I'm assuming it's very similar to ACC. Christy, I don't know if you have anything else to say. We are kind of chatting ACC rather than ALPAU, but I'm not sure if you have a note on that.
Yeah, so if you get chemistry through ALPAU, you take what's chemistry 1050 is the number of the course, but you take it from September till April, May. And at the end of that school year, you then have the equivalent of grade 11 and 12 chemistry. If you did it ACC, you would take chemistry 1046, so like part 1 between September and December, and then part 2 between January and April. And at the end of the year, you would have chemistry 11 and 12. So both ways you get the complete grade 11 and 12 chemistry. The topics within each of them are the same. The learning outcomes are written differently, but they're aiming for the same thing because it is, after all, giving credit for grade 11 and 12 equivalent. And so in that way, yeah, they are the same. And what's nice if you are doing it, what they are calling part-time is because you're taking 2 courses. And so by taking 2 courses through ALPAU, it will be free. And so that is a consideration for students in ACC. If you're taking 2 ACC courses, you may want to consider going through ALPAU instead, because then, you know, you've got free option, I guess. So it's but if you're taking more than 2, then you would have to pay.
Yeah, and it's all about access, right? We're trying to provide as many avenues as possible for people to get these academic upgrades so that they can, you know, attend either a full life program with us or with another institution. So lots of opportunities for upgrading. We also have continuing education, which we haven't even really mentioned either, and that's, you know, yet another option for upgrading. So lots of good opportunity. We hope that answered your question. Best check with maybe a faculty member or the AC. They'll likely be in contact with you, or an ALP counselor, I should say, as well, can be in contact with you with regards to you know, the delivery of your particular courses at that campus.
So one thing I would say, I'm not 100% sure that this is Marconi's case, but for Straight Area, some of our courses, and it's not all of them, have what we call FSI, which is flexible system of instruction, and that is kind of self-paced. The thing is, with chemistry and biology and physics and math, there's so much material in a year that we would call it self-paced, but to get through it in 1 year, you basically need to pace it at the same speed as the kind of the taught class. But if you're someone that, you know, can give all kinds of time to it this week, but then next week you can't, and then the week after you can, like, you know, then maybe you can manage it that way. But it's just it is, again, like about trying to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. So in that way, having that sort of independent method, like approach that you access as you need it, and you go self-paced. And you can take more than a year if you're in the ALP AU program, but ACC is a bit more specific to completing it within the year.
Great. Okay, I have a question here that's more on the admissions side, so I can definitely field this one. Looks like it might be an international student who had applied to a program. Anyway, they're asking about work permits, study permits, and about deferring. So the international application deadline was May 1st. So if you're a student on the line that was looking to apply to a program for September, that date has passed. If you have a valid and current study permit, and you can provide proof of that to admissions, you can still apply for September programs, but if you don't have that already, unfortunately, you can't apply for September. You can still apply online, technically, to a September program, but your application will be held until the next available intake, which again, likely September 2023 for most programs. Some programs have a January intake, not many. So to answer the question about your deferral, so students, if your application wasn't complete by the May 1st deadline, again, we will basically transfer it to the next intake. If it was complete, and we are currently processing applications right now, this is a very busy time for admissions with that May 1st deadline. So, you know, decisions can take 4 to 5 weeks. So if you are worried about obtaining those permits, you can defer. This is general for all students. You can defer your intake up to one intake, basically. So to the next intake, and you just have to defer basically before the start of your intake. So that's definitely an option. We have a deferrals page right online with admissions here. So it gives you some information here. So again, if you're offered a seat but can't come, you can request a deferral before the tuition deadline. We will consider your application for the next term for your program and campus of choice. And then the tuition deadline, that information can also be found online as well. Typically the first payment is early August of your particular intake. So hopefully that answers your questions there. And it looks like that's the end of the question box, actually. So I will give folks a few more seconds here just in case they are typing a question out, perhaps. So we'll give you a few moments. But if not, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. And of course, thank you so much, Kirsty, for joining me. I really appreciate your help and your expertise on the matter. And yeah, if anybody has any questions that they have afterwards, I am just going to type our email address here, recruitment@nscc.ca, into the chat box. So feel free to shoot us any questions that you might have. Looks like there's no more questions coming in. So I'll say goodbye, and I'll let Christy sign off as well.
Okay. Thanks. Hope to see some of you.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one.
See you.